Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host here. My guest today is Laura Nelkin, the designer behind the initiative called Knit-for-Food. So I saw that on Instagram. How did the idea come to you to do that thing?
Sure. So first off, I should probably say like what Knit for Food is. And Knit for Food is a 12-hour knitting marathon. This is the third year of Knit for Food, and it's a marathon to raise funds for food insecurity and hunger. And the whole idea kind of started out because during the pandemic, my daughter, who was in college, got sent home, as many of our college age kids did. And once she finished the semester, she ended up getting a job with our local food bank. And her job was to be on the phone in her bedroom from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., registering my neighbors who were hungry to go pick up food at local food distributions. So, like 4 days a week, she was registering people. And then on the fifth day, she would go to the food distributions, pack up the food, and hand it out to people. So every day I'd be downstairs in my studio and I would literally just be hearing my hungry neighbors calling to get food. And I had no idea that food insecurity and hunger was such a big issue in my area.
Right.
I certainly come for a place where, sometimes I forget to eat and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. But I've never experienced hunger in any real sense of the word or food insecurity. So it really, it was shocking, and it was hard for all of us to witness and like support her through that. And when she left and went back to college, I realized that I really wanted to do something. I wanted to find I'm a person of action. I'm not such a like, oh, you know what we should do? I like to do things. So I started thinking about what my action could be that could potentially just help. I certainly don't think I can solve hunger by any stretch of the imagination. So I was taking a shower one day and thinking about the Gilmore Girls and the knit-a-thon. There's like an iconic Gilmore Girls episode where there's a knit-a-thon where they're raising money for like the town bridge. And I was like, well, what if we do a knit-a-thon to raise money for food insecurity in America? And then I did some Googling and I actually found a knit-a-thon that had been done that summer by a group of 20 something women who were raising money. And so I reached out to them and they were super generous and explained their whole like mission and how they set up their knit-a-thon. And I was able to kind of follow their outline and launch the Knit for Food Knit-a-thon. So the first one we had was in 2021 and we raised about $260,000.
Did that
A hundred.
surprise you? Like, did you expect
Oh,
that?
no, I like set the minimum at like $10,000. I was gonna be like psyched, like if we hit 20 or something. And then we just kept like upping it, like, well, maybe we'll raise $50,000. Let's try that. And it just kind of knitters are a force to be reckoned with. And really one of the incredible things about this project is I really kind of announce it and I get the ball rolling. And then it is not that I'm sitting back and just watching it happen, but I am just one cog in a giant wheel. Like I've been likening it to this giant ball of yarn that's just kind of like rolling and collecting more knitters. And the reality is, as knitters, we're always knitting for somebody, right? So all those people that you've knit for over the years, if you sign up to knit-a-thon along with us, all you have to do is reach out to your friends and family and say like, hey, remember that hat I knit for you? Do you want to donate over here? Right? Like it's kind of scratching each other's back. So I think it's been incredible.
Well,
Absolutely
tell
incredible.
me like a little bit more of how does it
Yeah.
work? How can people enroll in it? What's involved? Like, give me a little bit more detail.
Oh, definitely do that. So by signing up to join the knit-a-thon, you are committing to knit for 12 hours. I think what's important to kind of go over is the funds that are raised are split in between four organizations. Those organizations are No Kid Hungry, Meals on Wheels, World Central Kitchen, and Feeding America. And as we were looking at the team and I looking at the organizations we wanted to work with, we knew we wanted to kind of cover food banks and and kids and the elderly, and then the work that World Central Kitchen does, both worldwide and in the US, being really like nimble and able to respond to tragedies or to natural disasters. They do a lot to feed people in different situations. So those are the four organizations. And we are completely volunteer based. We are completely grassroots. So 100% of what is raised is donated. We don't have any overhead fees. We don't, have any offices. We don't have any officers. It's just a bunch of us working hard and quickly during a time of the year. So this year, the Knit-a-thon is on March 26th, which is a Sunday. The Knit-a-thon goes from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So throughout the day, if you commit to sign up and knit with us, is Zoom programming throughout the day. It is not a 12-hour Zoom marathon, so we are not on Zoom for 12 hours because that would be a path to crazy town. But throughout the day, throughout the day, we hear from all four organizations that we are fundraising for. We have like exercising. We have different like stretches. We'll have like a yoga breakout. We'll listen to music together. We listen to like Spotify playlists, and I love to dance and knit. So I just like get up and dance and knit. But it's a fun way to be together with people around the country and around the world, and also be doing something good and trying to solve a problem that just really shouldn't exist in a first world country, in my
Well, I've
mind.
been talking about this initiative. You started it here in the US, but is it open worldwide?
So anybody in the world is welcome to join us. The only one of the four organizations that we're donating to that works worldwide is World Central Kitchen. I know that all three of those other organizations do partner with other countries on initiatives, but they are mostly US based. So I think that is important to say. Part of why we do that is I've learned more about fundraising and financial aspects than I ever thought I ever would in my lifetime, but it gets complicated the moment we are taking funds and donating them abroad versus donating them within the country. So that's part of why we're working with organizations that are all US based.
So there are two ways, as far as I understand, the main ways to participate in it. You can either volunteer yourself, or you can donate to other knitters who participate in it, correct? Like, are there
Yes.
any other ways that people can help?
Well, one of a great way that you can help if you're not able to donate and you are, not going to join along and join the knit-a-thon, you can share the knit-a-thon. I would say that's like the third most. So like you finding out about the knit-a-thon the other day is probably because somebody shared it on Instagram, whether they shared my post or somebody else's post who's involved in the knit-a-thon. So, I have this vision that if everybody, we have a downloadable flyer on our website, if everybody prints out one flyer and brings it to their like LYS or puts it up in their church basement or puts it up in their library, that's the way to kind of grassroots get the news out about the knit-a-thon. So sharing is a huge way. And what I'm really urging people to do right now is sharing on the internet is great, but the same people are on the internet. And if we want to really like spread our wings with this, I think getting those printed and then, those flyers printed. That was a good one. Those printed flyers, getting them up and in places where people can see them is a great way to get new eyeballs and new knitters involved in the initiative.
What if people don't knit? What if there are people who would like to participate in it, but they crochet or they sew or they do something else?
That is absolutely fine. We kicked around calling it after the first year, changing the name to like a craft-a-thon or a make-a-thon or some other word that was more inclusive to crafts, but really any craft is okay. And the reality is knitting for 12 hours is probably not very good for your hands if you're going to knit for 12 hours straight. So I do some hand stitching during the day. I do some sewing during the day. I pick up my knitting a lot. I end up on the Zoom a fair amount of the day, so I'm computering and I try to make up before and after for my 12 hours. But, there's no knit-a-thon police. So I think people can really do what works for them. I tell people if they're already signed up for a knitting class that day, that completely accounts as a thing that you could do. You can see my cat just joined us here.
I thought you sprang a tail.
I know, totally. That's my tail. Um,
Do
so
you,
lots of ways to do that. We're certainly not limited just to knitting.
do you have a goal for this year for the fundraising? Like I know you started with the 10, 20,000. What's your expectation for this year?
Well, I mean, of course, uh, I don't know. My competitive self would love to beat last year's total, which was $271,000. So that would be a goal. But I mean, it just feels, even after doing it for 2 years, raising over $250,000, it still feels like unobtainium to like raise that much money. But of course, deep down inside, $272,000.
Well, what's the best part about this fundraiser for you personally?
For me personally, I mean, beyond knowing that we're getting food into bellies, which is amazing in and of itself, the connections that I've made, and when I'm out and about the rest of the year, like when I'm at knitting events or at Rhinebeck, I had multiple people come up to me and thank me for the knit-a-thon and talk about their experience doing the knit-a-thon. And that has been so rewarding. So those connections that are getting made, and knitting is just, the knitting community is so warm and so powerful. And this is just one way to witness that, I would say.
What's your day looks like on that day?
Oh, that day. So the last 2 years, what I did was wake up early because I was very excited. And the rest of the year, I'm not an early riser. I'm a late night person. I get energized right when the rest of the world is getting sleepy. But I woke up early and I knitted actually because I knew I wasn't going to be able to knit a lot once the day got going on Zoom. A lot of what happens for the team is that we're responding to emails for people who like can't get into the Zoom or have a question about a donation. It gets very, very busy on the team end of things. So I woke up early and I knit. And the last 2 years, I forgot to prep food for myself at home. So this year I'm determined. A lot of people, spend some time planning what they're going to knit that day and kind of like make sure that they have snacks and food on hand so they don't have to spend time during the day taking care of their basic needs. So this year I'm determined to remember to do that as well. Um,
Is there
but
like,
yeah,
is there a minimum requirement of how much people supposed to raise to be part
so
of?
we ask people to raise a minimum of $100 to get the link to the Zoom, but the last 2 years, it was basically too much work to try to sort out that morning of who had and hadn't raised $100. So we just sent the Zoom link to everybody, and I'm sure that we'll do that again, but don't say I said that because it doesn't feel like that big an ask to raise $100, especially because the Zoom programming is so powerful and fun. It's like it's worth $100 in and of itself to be part of that event. That's the way I think about that. Like you pay that to like do, a virtual knitting event or something, and it's similar to that.
Well, you mentioned there is yoga, you mentioned there is music, you mentioned there is like ergonomics conversation and all these different things. How do you plan that? Who helps you? Who are the people on this team? Tell me about your
Oh,
helpers.
so I call it team. It's four of us right now, and then we have a very strong and powerful Facebook group that's grown quite quickly. So if we have an ask, like something that needs to be done, we'll just kind of post in there. And somebody, like we just asked for somebody to bring flyers to Vogue Knitting Live, and we had multiple people who were like, "I'm going, I can do that." But the team right now is myself. it is Susie, Bonnie, and Veronique who all do emails every day. They kind of take on the email, they split it into 3 shifts. Each one of them does one every day to respond to questions that are coming up. I do kind of bigger picture stuff, and then I answer the emails that we have to make up the answer for. In terms of the Zoom programming, that is me coordinating with the 4 organizations and then finding people to do the musics. Patty Lyons, the last 2 years, did an event. We did like a game night at the end of the night to kind of energize people for the last hour, hour and a half. That is like hysterical. We actually went over last year because we were having so much fun with the game night that we were all still like doing it at 10:15 because it was really fun. So it's really a all hands on deck for a small team. And, you know, since it's March 26th, that's what, about like 6 weeks from now. So it's an intensive 6 weeks of really rewarding work and making new friends like you, right? We've never met before and now we're friends. So um, I look forward to it. Right now, it's kind of the highlight of my year, I would say.
Well, if somebody wants to try it this year,
Yeah.
can you show us your website and how to do that?
Oh,
How
I would love to. Yeah. I've got that all queued up right here. So this is the landing page for Knit-for-Food. I know you'll put links below for people to get to this, and it's very easy. Basically, you can do 3 things. You can donate by clicking on the donate button, and then when you click on the donate button, you can choose how much you want to donate, and then you can choose a team member to donate to, or you can choose none, and it'll just go into the general pool. And if you're looking for a friend, you can kind of type them into the bar, and then that team member will come up, and then you can go on and leave them a note, and I'll show you about those notes in a second. And then you've got some options for paying. I think one thing that is important to note is we use a platform called GiveButter, and you can give GiveButter a tip if you want, because they operate without any platform fees. If you don't want to give them a tip, you can just click other, and then you will not be giving them a tip at all. And that is completely up to whoever is donating. There are credit card processing fees. There's no way around those. So those are always added on. And then you choose your method for paying and click finish. So that is how you donate. Another thing that you can do is share the fundraiser by clicking the share the fundraiser button, and that'll give you multiple options for sharing the fundraiser. And then finally, and this is what I'm hoping some of your viewers are going to want to do, you can join the knit-a-thon. So if you scroll down a little bit, you just click join knit-a-thon, and then you set yourself up with a profile. If you've ever used GiveButter before, then you would just go down to already have an account, sign in, and you would sign in with your GiveButter information. And then once you have signed up, you get an email from GiveButter that that will give you your link. It's basically like givebutter.com/knit-for-food23/ your name. Pretty easy.
Right.
And then you'll share that with your friends and family, put that on Facebook, send out emails. We send a welcome email that has more information and fundraising ideas, and then we send out weekly emails to kind of inspire everybody and give you ideas for fundraising, ask for ideas if we're looking for any. We are always looking to get the word out. So if any of your people know Michelle Obama, we would love to get her involved in the Knit-for-Food.
And if you guys
Buffy
know
agrees.
Michelle Obama by chance, invite her to my channel as well. I would love to
We're
interview.
all like, we all want Michelle.
Yes, Michelle would be wonderful. Well, I'm gonna put all the information about this so people can find the website and they can read your blog and they can donate or they can sign up for it in the description of this video. So guys, please check it out. And I hope you're
Excellent.
gonna participate in it. You have 6 weeks to do that, and it's a wonderful cause. And I'm so glad you've been on my channel, a guest of my
Oh,
channel.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Laura.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention is if you're part of a guild or a local knitting store, or you have a group of friends that wants to sign up as a team, you can just sign up like as like the Knit Pearl Girls, right? And then get one link for the Knit Pearl Girls and share that with everybody and all be fundraising with that same link. And then as you get emails from us, it's just it's your job to forward them to everybody else on your team. So if you're wanting to just have one link instead of sign up individually, a lot of people enjoy doing that because it gives them kind of that extra sense of community. So
Right. Well, that's
yeah,
such a wonderful cause, and I'm so glad you decided to do it. And I'm so glad
thank
this
you.
community responded the way it did.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah, we're lucky to have each other, I would say.
After talking with Laura, I decided to join this knit-a-thon myself. So I'm gonna put a link to my page. After talking with Laura, I decided to join this knit-a-thon myself as well. So I'm gonna put my link in the description of this video. You guys can help me support this cause and raise money for this cause. Or you can also just send this video to a friend of yours and let them know about this wonderful knit-a-thon. You can also sign up to be part of it. So all the information is going to be in the description of this video. I hope you enjoy this episode, and please consider subscribing to my channel as well. Thank you so very much. Happy knitting.